Hello everyone, this is Chris and I make a good script for you. But don't you worry, I'm not going to talk like that through the whole video. So, let's get to the script. I have here a super inefficient scene, and it's not too bad because there's only 17 objects, but if you've ever worked with a scene, say you downloaded off TurboSquid, and who knows made it, but it's just gross. Like you move the camera and you had to wait several seconds for the scene to unlock and then move it again. It's impossible to navigate. It makes it really hard to work. That is often because whoever set up the scene didn't quite understand how Max utilizes memory. So they'll have like a mesh that gets converted to an edit poly, that gets a TurboSmooth, that gets converted back to a mesh, that gets a mesh smooth, and then a noise on top of the whole thing, and call it done and give it to the lighting guys. And no one could work with it because it's gross. It utilizes so much more memory than it needs to. This script was designed specifically to counter that. So I have here it's a previs for my upcoming film, the little teapot that was dynamic, and we had Joe, the intern that just graduated college, model a rock for us. And you can see they're not very good rocks, but he really put some time into it, man. It's his first gig, and he was going to make it right. Let's dissect how he made this. Let's go in here. He started with an edit mesh. He put a noise, put an FFD on it, then a push, then a relax, then another noise, and then an edit poly, and then another FFD, and then a TurboSmooth. And he doesn't see what's wrong with this, and he passed it to me, and it's sickening. It's just, come on, man. Dude. So I want to clean it up. I want to clean that up really quickly. I also have over here a previs animation for the Teapot's dynamic victory dance. Check it out. And the animator who put this together also just graduated college. And so we have a teapot, mesh select, poly select, bend, point cache. So I assume that they couldn't decide what kind of mesh they wanted to select, and then they animated a bend, and then they cached it all, and that's our scene. So let's optimize this really quick. So under CK Scripts, I've got Geo Optimizer version 1.1. Let's open that bad boy up, and you have first you're greeted with a selection set. So do we want this to apply to all objects or selected? In this case, all objects, because why not? And let's sort the objects. So when you click that, what that does, it actually creates 3 selection sets. So you have first off the TurboSmooth objects. These are objects that have a TurboSmooth on the top level. So that's pretty much all of these guys. You have objects that are ready to collapse. It's also these guys because you also have animation deformation. That's this guy. Now if you look, a point cache always has, it's moving. That's the whole point of a point cache. Same with a skin wrap or a skin wrap patch, or a skin in general. There's a list of them that you could actually see that I'll bring up, but basically you wouldn't want to collapse those because then it freezes your animation and that's useless. Before we continue, we're going to have to remove all of the TurboSmooths because those are, TurboSmooth is procedural. You wouldn't want to collapse that down. That would not be optimizing. We'll just add it on back at the end of the whole process. So let's get rid of all those pesky TurboSmooths. There we go. They're gone. Verify that. None of these objects have that. And let's then convert the polys to meshes. Now this will basically take anything in the ready to collapse selection set and collapse it down to be as efficient as possible. So let's do that first. Ta-da! So these are all collapsed. These are done. They're ready to go. They just need the TurboSmooths applied. This guy, however, still has a kind of a messy stack, and we don't really want that. So we have collapse under animation modifiers. So a jiggle, or like I said, a skin wrap, or a skin, or a point cache, it won't affect those. It'll actually look for the lowest one in order throughout the stack, underneath it put an editable mesh, and then collapse it to that mesh. So let's see how that works. Now there's a warning here. This is kind of a beta thing because there's always new plugins that are coming out and stuff like that. Eventually the script will allow you to add in whatever gets taken into consideration, but it'll currently preserve everything on this list. So flex, linked xform, melt, morpher, paste skin weights, notify depth catcher, patch deform, path deform. You get the gist of it. Anything that really is animated throughout the scene, and that's the whole point of the modifier, it'll go underneath those in the stack and collapse it there. So let's just hit OK, and bam. If you saw, there was a bunch of stuff underneath the point cache. It's now gone. So we are left with only one step. Reapply the TurboSmooths. So let's click that, and done. We have now optimized all the geometry in this scene. The dancing teapot no longer has a stack of useless stuff. These rocks are just a mesh with a TurboSmooth on it. It's an instance TurboSmooth, so it affects everything that is in the scene that had a TurboSmooth. And that's it. So this could potentially save you a lot of time. I hope it does. If you don't quite understand why this would be useful, then you probably haven't run into a terrible, 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 terrible scene yet. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. I'll catch you next time.